live. What is going on, everybody? Been scrambling around here. Sorry for the delayed start, but should be good to go. Gonna go game by game on DraftKings, talk about FanDuel as well, giving you guys picks to get you in the green cash line as always. If you have any questions in the chat, please do ask them, guys. And this live stream is brought to you by PrizePicks. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, go ahead and do so. Use that promo code KJK DFS to receive an instant match deposit up to $100. So, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I think we should be good to go, but I'm going to do a game by game. I'm trying to get everything pulled up here. All my projections updated. I got to do my PrizePicks score plays for my premium content members as well. All that stuff's going out right now, so just bear with me to start this thing, but we're going to get it rolling. And hit that like button if you enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. And let's talk about it. So, first game on the slate, we have Miami taking on Charlotte. As far as the over-under in this game comes in with a 226.5 over-under. It's a 5-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. So expected to stay close. Expected to be a fast, up-tempo game. Pace-up game for the Miami Heat. The biggest piece of news that we are waiting on right now is on Jimmy Butler news. He is still listed as questionable in this one. It appears as though he will be available, though. So he's expected to be in. That's going to make him a great play. He's taking on a Charlotte Hornets team that's one of the worst teams defensively in the league. So it's certainly going to make me have some interest in Jimmy Butler. And I'm going to have a much more idea of where I'm looking to once I do this next projection update. So just so you guys know, our premium content members, the new projections are going up right now. And then I'm going to try to continue along here. I just have a lot of things going on at once. So once again, I apologize for the delayed start here, but we do have confirmation that Jimmy Butler is in, most likely. I guess we don't officially have confirmation, but he's expected to play. He gets one of the best matchups you could ask for taking on a Charlotte Hornets team. We were talking about earlier how Tyler Hero's out, so if Jimmy Butler was out as well, that was going to make me like Bam Adebayo and Kyle Lowry even more. With him being in, I still like those two guys, just not as much. It's definitely Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo that are the top two priorities for me in this starting rotation. Kyle Lowry kind of takes a backseat to them when Jimmy and Bam are healthy. So that's certainly the approach I would be taking on this one tonight. And kind of where my head's at when it comes to the Miami Heat. And then we did just get confirmation that Caleb Martin was ruled out as well for the Miami Heat. So that's going to open up even more usage on their side. And I'm just getting these latest projections all dialed in. So, premium content members, the latest projections are up. It's going to help me out here when I'm talking along my priorities for you guys. And, yeah, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, going to be great plays. Running it back on the other side with Charlotte. Gordon Hayward continues to be out. Cody Martin's out in this one. It was Cody or Caleb? Are they both out? I thought I saw a matchup update that Caleb Martin was out as well. Because he's listed as questionable. Let me check to make sure I wasn't lying to you guys, though. Let's do a quick little refresh here. I thought I saw something come through. Yes, Caleb Martin ruled out. Okay, perfect. So he is ruled out. Caleb, Cody, same game. A little confusing there, but they're both out. And so that's going to open up more usage on the Miami Heat side of things. With him being out, it's just more minutes, more usage to go around for some of these secondary options. Duncan Robinson and Max Struss, specifically those two guys, become much more intriguing plays. As far as my top overall priorities in this game, I already said it, but Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo on the Miami Heat side, and then running back on the Charlotte side. The guys that are getting all the minutes, the guys that are getting all the usage. It's kind of obvious, but LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, and Miles Bridges, those three are certainly my top three options when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets side of things. So that's going to be kind of who I'm loading up in on this game. Montrezl Harrell, Mason Plumlee, and PJ Washington are all interesting tournament plays. They are negatively correlated, though, so just keep that in mind. Limit your exposure to them. You can't be playing like all those guys in the same lineup, but if you're playing multiple lineups, you could be diversifying your lineups with those guys in them. So that's kind of the approach there. And let's move on to the second game on the slate. Second game on the slate, we got Washington taking on Brooklyn. Washington continues to be without Bradley Beal. They continue to be out without Spencer Dinwiddie because Spencer Dinwiddie got traded. And that has made Kyle Kuzma an absolute usage monster. He's put up 48, 46, 58 DraftKings points in 3 of the last 4. His one down game, he put up 35. That's not even too terrible, but the price tag has come up to reflect it. He's 9K, but I do think it's worth that price tag with the current usage he's getting and upside that he's supplying. As far as the total in this game comes with a 214 over-under. It's a 4.5 point spread in favor of Brooklyn. So, expect it to stay close. Kyle Kuzma is certainly going to be an interesting play. As far as other people I'll be looking to in this game, Bruce Brown at 4-5 I think is pretty interesting on the Brooklyn side of things. They're continuing to be without Kyrie Irving and without Kevin Durant, which is obviously going to open up a lot of usage. Kessler Edwards, Seth Curry, the other guards like Cam Thomas, etc. on this Brooklyn side, all going to be worthy. I certainly think that Seth Curry and Andre Drummond have really fit in well to their new roles here in Brooklyn. They both have a lot of upside at their respective price tags. So no issues with you going to those guys whatsoever as well in your tournament lineups tonight, guys. So a third game on the slate that we're going to talk about is the Dallas-New Orleans Pelicans game. This game right now, as far as a total over-under, comes in with a total of 216.5 over-under. It's a 2.5-point spread in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Expected to stay close. Decently paced game, not the best in the world, but we do have some very friendly price guys. I talked about my video this morning. Brandon Ingram is my lock of the night. If you didn't see my video earlier in the day, finally returned with the lock of the night segment. I know there was a lot of people that were missing that, so Brandon Ingram is going to be my lock of the night. Love him. His price tag's dipped on both websites. I think he's a phenomenal play on both. It's just a matter of, price dipping. And, his usage has gone down with TJ McCollum being on the team. But the fact of the matter is this guy's a 40, 50 fantasy point upside guy. Every time he takes the floor, 7-5. He could easily go out there and put up 55 DraftKings points for you on any given night. And I certainly want to be the one that's taking advantage of that on this slate tonight. So Brandon Ingram, love him. I also think Jonas Valanciunas is a really great play at 7-4. And then running it back on the Dallas side, I really want to lock in on Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic. They're by far the two guys I'm going to play the most on the Dallas side, and really the only two I have too much of interest in. Looking at anyone else in this game that might pique my interest a little bit in my projections, JV, Brandon Ingram, I already talked about it. Jalen Brunson, already talked about it. Luka Doncic, already talked about it. Last guys that I would talk about are Dorian Finney-Smith and Maxi Kleber at 4K and 4.6 respectively. They're decent tournament options, just not the best fantasy point producers in the world. Dorian Finney-Smith plays a lot of minutes, but just doesn't really produce at a very high rate. So you're pretty much relying on the minutes volume alone. And then when it comes to Maxi Kleber, he's a very streaky three-point shooter that has a lot of upside. He put up 39.5 DraftKings points last time out. That's the kind of upside that he's capable of. Just keep in mind, sometimes, the games before he had 11, 22, 17. So not exactly the top most consistent guys. So if you're playing him in your tournament lineups, I certainly would approve of that. Cash games and things along those, that side of things, that nature. I think you could find some better options than a Maxi Kleber. So that would be my advice there. Fourth game on the slate, we have Philadelphia taking on Milwaukee as far as a total in this game. This game comes in with a 223 over-under. It's a 6.5-point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. So expect to stay close, expect to be up-tempo. I certainly have a lot of interest in the two pay-up options in this game. Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anytime that the game is expected to stay close, Giannis has a massive amount of upside. Joel Embiid always has a massive amount of upside. And the fact of the matter remains, until James Harden starts playing in these games, Joel Embiid is going to continue to dominate the usage. And the upside is going to be massive. So I think he's well worth the price tag right now at 11.8. Certainly willing to get a lot of exposure to him. And then if the game stays close, running it back on the other side with Giannis makes a lot of sense. I think playing both of these superstars in your lineups tonight, if you have the salary to do so, really does make a lot of sense. I think it's really positively correlated. And, if the game does stay close, then most likely they're both going to be on the floor for long minutes. And they could both really reach their ceilings tonight. So typically speaking, a lot of times when you're playing players from the same game, it can be a little bit negatively correlated. But in this case, I do think it's pretty positively correlated. I'd go with those two guys for sure. And Philly taking on Milwaukee. As far as anyone else I'd be looking to, Georges Niang is only 3.2. He's somewhat interesting. Danny Green's only 3.1. I think Danny Green's pretty interesting here. He's kind of just a 3-and-D wing spot-up shooter, but the fact of the matter remains he's close to minimum salary. He can shoot the three ball very well when he does get hot. I know he's been really bad as of late. 5, 13, 9, 3, but if you can go out there and put up, 25 to 30 points, which he's certainly capable of doing, you're going to be very, very happy with that production at only a 3-1 price tag for Danny Green. So, definitely, no issues with you going there. Just keep in mind it's a little bit risky, but at the same time, you're taking that risk with a guy that's near minimum salary. So it's not like you're taking a big chunk of your salary to be playing this guy. And the same can be said for Matisse Thybulle at 3.7. He'd be the other one that I'm looking to. Kind of the same story. Not the best fantasy point producer. 3-and-D guy. I like playing him a lot more over there on FanDuel where you get 3 points for blocks and steals because he is notorious for getting lots of blocks and steals. But on DraftKings, I'm not too sure I'd be too intrigued to be playing him. But he's viable. He's viable. So Houston taking on the LA Clippers, guys. Last game on the slate as far as the total in this game. This game comes with a 227.5 over under. It's a 10.5 point spread in favor of the LA Clippers. The blowout concern is there a little bit. But we did get a confirmation. Kevin Porter Jr. is listed as questionable. Christian Wood is going to be in, though. So Kevin Porter Jr., with him being listed as doubtful now, Dennis Schroeder and Jalen Green become really interesting options here. Most notably, Dennis Schroeder. He got to start last time. He's really cheap over here on DraftKings. He's only 4-4. That's a very friendly price tag for a guy that played 39 minutes last time out, put up 46 DraftKings points. Very good fantasy point producer. It's kind of a no-brainer. What do you think about Jalen Green, Eric Gordon out? Yeah, exactly. Jalen Green's the other guy that I was just going to say. Eric Gordon is listed as out, so it's Jalen Green, David Nwaba, Josh Christopher that you're really looking to on the Houston side. As far as my favorite options here that I want to be prioritizing, I do think Jalen Green looks really good at 4-7. Not one of my top plays on the slate, but he's up there in the top quarter probably here looking at my projection sheet. Garrison Matthews, I think, is pretty interesting at 4-2 as well. I don't know if he's a guy that people are going to be sleeping on because they want to go to Jalen Green, but if that's the case, certainly willing to play some Garrison Matthews. He puts up 0.75 DK points per minute on the season. I've got him projected to play 30 minutes in this one. Sengun is a pretty interesting option. I mean, he'd be a lot better option if there was no Christian Wood, but Christian Wood's in. And then lastly, I do like KJ Martin and Jayshawn Tate a ton. I think Jayshawn Tate's probably my favorite secondary option as opposed to Christian Wood at a 5-1 price tag. He's just got a massive amount of upside. Well, outside of Dennis Schroeder, but those three guys are really the three that I'd be looking to lock in on tonight. And Jalen Green would probably be my fourth. I think Jalen Green's a decent play. He's just not as consistent. I think these other guys produce at a higher rate. Like, he's put up 29, 24, 22, 21, and 24 DraftKings points. I guess consistent might be the thing he is, but consistently underwhelming. So I'm good on that. I don't really want to be getting too much Jalen Green exposure in comparison to the field is my guess. I'll probably go underweight on him, go overweight on some other guys like a KJ Martin that I talked about, like a Garrison Matthews. I just think it's easy to pivot off him. KJ Martin's only 3-4. Last game out, we saw him play 24 minutes. I think he has a lot of upside at that price tag. So these are just things I'd be looking to think about game theory-wise. If everyone's going to be going to a Jalen Green, I don't hate him. I just think he does a decent job and not high enough upside for your tournaments. And then running back on the other side, LA Clippers get the best possible matchup you could ask for. Houston ranks dead last in the league defensively. So 6,800 for Reggie Jackson certainly makes a lot of sense. And this one, Marcus Morris. As well on the LA Clippers side, 35 DraftKings points. And then Terrence Mann, Ivica Zubac at a 5-1 price tag and a 4-7 price tag. These guys certainly do make a lot of sense in my tournament lineups tonight. All right, guys. So that's my overall breakdown here on DraftKings. Kind of give you an overall feel for the slate, but we're going to talk about FanDuel as well, the pricing discrepancies. If you have any questions, please do ask them. I'll gladly answer them. Trying to get through the stream relatively fast because I got to get to my premium content stuff, all my projections, my core plays, all that fun stuff. I got to be updating that for those guys. So being that it's a pretty small slate, I do think we can get through it pretty quickly here. Talking about FanDuel, Bobby Portis is 6'3", continues to be a really great play. We talked about him over there. Well, I don't know if we talked about him on DraftKings. He's a decent play on DraftKings, but he's even cheaper on FanDuel. He's a nice pivot off from Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you're not playing any Giannis, I certainly would like going to him. We talked about Jalen Green, Kenyon Martin Jr., Jayshawn Tate at 5'2", certainly looks really good over here. I talked about Jonas Valanciunas. I mean, Dennis Schroeder is like the top play on the slate. So Dennis Schroeder certainly looks really good on both websites. He's just too cheap, and now he's being put into a starting point guard position. So it's just like, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's not really too difficult to promote Dennis Schroeder. I'm sure everywhere else you're listening to is saying the same thing, but for good reason, because he's a really good play. So I do like Dennis Schroeder a ton in this one today. Brandon Ingram, 7'6". Once again, he's my lock of the night. I love him on both websites. Really cheap on both websites. The upside can far surpass the price tag. And for that reason, yeah, Terrence Mann or Batum on DFS. I would go with Terrence Mann there if I had to pick one. His minutes are more solidified, but I think it's very reasonable for Nicholas Batum to outscore him. I will say that. So if you want to pivot off in tournaments, I think Mann's the easier answer, but I think Batum could certainly outscore him. Other people might not be thinking that way, so Jalen Brunson at 6'5" is a secondary option I certainly like over here on FanDuel. Jimmy Butler at 9'1", once again, a really great option here. He gets to take on one of the best possible matchups you could ask for against the Charlotte Hornets team, so gonna love some Jimmy Butler. We got confirmation he's on track to play, so, I mean, load up on some Jimmy for sure. Definitely gonna like him. And some other guys. Christian Wood at 8'1" certainly looks good. Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball. I already talked about those guys. Kyle Kuzma, Reggie Jackson. I mean, these are a lot of the guys we just talked about, but those are guys that are grading out like good plays here. Kyle Kuzma at 7'7", really high usage on the Washington side. All those Charlotte guys are going to play massive minutes. LaMelo Ball, Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson look really good with no more Kristaps in town. Reggie Jackson at 6'7". Seth Curry at 6K. He is very scoring reliant, which scares me a little bit more on a site like FanDuel than it does on DraftKings, where you get the 3-point bonus. So for me, I think Seth Curry is a decent option. Just a little bit dicey there. And then, yeah, I mean, Bam Adebayo, 9'5", fantastic play against a bad Charlotte defense, so I like him a lot. Already talked about Kuzma. Robert Covington off the bench for the LA Clippers is a guy that I always like to play on FanDuel because he's notorious for getting a lot of blocks and steals. Just the minutes have been somewhat capped on his new squad, so not quite as good as he once was for fantasy purposes on Portland. Center, love Joel Embiid, talked about it, but I love the Joel Embiid and Giannis pay-up combination. Andre Drummond, certainly a much more valid play. Jonas Valanciunas, once again, is just... They're forcing you to play him at this point. I know his minutes have been somewhat limited at times. I know his upside's been somewhat limited, but it's just a matter of time before this guy puts up 50 fantasy points. We know he's capable of doing it. And at this price tag, if he does that, you're looking really, really good in your tournament lineup. So I have to keep prioritizing him. And yeah, honestly, we kind of just blew through that slate breakdown, but I think it's pretty straightforward. You know, use that Houston value, pay up for Giannis, pay up for Joel Embiid. I like Kyle Kuzma. I talked about him. Luka Doncic, certainly valid. Terry Rozier, all those Hornets guys that we talked about. The Clippers side does get a really great matchup taking on the Houston Rockets. So Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson, and all the other guys that are getting lots of minutes in that rotation certainly makes sense. I think Zubac is a pretty intriguing option who's seen some more minutes as of late. He's pretty cheap on both websites. He's 6'2" over here on FanDuel. He's been playing, he played 30 minutes last time. He put up 37 DraftKings points. That's huge. So he's certainly viable in your tournament lineups. And yeah, guys. Once again, we kind of blew through that. I've been in a scram. I have to do a lot of things as far as my premium content members, guys. If you haven't signed up for the premium content, I would highly encourage you to do so. It's very reasonably priced compared to the rest of the industry where you're getting charged like $50, $60 a month. You can get access to mine for $19.99 a month. I do offer a DraftKings and FanDuel package as well as a PrizePicks package and a combo package at a discount. So if you're interested, you're getting really serious about NBA DFS, would highly recommend you check it out over here. DraftKings, FanDuel, PrizePicks, and an NBA combo package. If you play just DraftKings and FanDuel, you can get that. If you play just PrizePicks, you can get that. If you play both, you can get the combo package and you get access to both at a discount, guys. So, we kind of blew through that thing. Honestly, I just want to make sure I answer any questions that you guys have. If you have any questions, please do ask them. I will gladly hang around for another, 10 minutes or so to answer any questions. If questions aren't coming through, and you enjoyed the stream and you're ready to head out, you can just hit that like button on your way out. That's fine, but I just really want to make sure all your questions are answered here before I head out. And then we're going to be headed into the All-Star break, so there won't be any basketball on for a while. And I guess I got a little bit of a break from the content, but yeah. That's about all, man. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, love him. Brandon Ingram's the lock of the night. Our injury news is looking pretty solidified. I think we already kind of got all the confirmation on that. And other than that, if you're a premium content member of mine, be keeping your eyes on the projections and the core plays. The PrizePicks and the DraftKings core plays, FanDuel core plays are going to be going up any second now. So, it's all for me, man. If you guys want to sign up for the premium content, patreon.com/KJK_DFS. Doesn't really seem like anyone really has any questions, so that's the link for that. And if you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, the sponsor of the program, go ahead and do so. Use that promo code KJKDFS to receive an instant match deposit up to $100. I released the PrizePicks video picks video earlier, but I will be updating the core plays as well for my premium content. So, all right, guys, everyone have a fun All-Star break. Maybe a little bit relaxing, not being on the grind every night. And hopefully this helped you out. Patrick says, thoughts on Montrezl Harrell? I think Montrezl Harrell is a fantastic tournament play on both websites. He could definitely burn you. He's on the bench. You don't really necessarily know how many minutes he's going to get, but he's a really great fantasy point producer. And it doesn't take him too long to rack up the points. So I do think that Montrezl Harrell is a pretty great tournament play. But I don't know if I'd be playing him in cash games. So that would just be my advice there. So yeah, man. I'm going to hang around for 2 more minutes till 6 o'clock. If there's still questions coming through, I really want to answer them all. If you have any questions you really want answered on this slate, please do ask them. If not, I guess I can head out. I got to do a lot of things here. Up to the core plays, the projections, and answer any questions that my premium content members have in the Discord chat. So it looks like everyone's kind of satisfied here with the questions. Patrick asked, Camilo, we got to your questions, and nothing else filing in. So last call. If you have any questions you really want answered on this slate, please ask them right now. 60 seconds. I will answer it. 60 seconds. And if you haven't signed up for the premium content, check it out. If you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, check it out. This should be a good slate. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think using the Houston value makes a lot of sense to be able to get up to your pay-up options. I think there's some studs and some really good matchups that we talked about, so that's always fun. And should be pretty easy to construct lineups that you're a big fan of. Which, that's always nice. Not a bad thing. I'm wondering if there's going to be a lot of, like, duplicate lineups, but there's always some way to get different, so just think about getting different. If you have access to my projections, look at the multiplier metrics, see some guys that might be at some lower ownership that nobody's talking about that you can be putting in your lineups on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And, yeah. Aldrich says, top 2 stars, Bam, good pick. Yes, Bam is a good pick. Top 2 stars. All right. My top 2 stars? I mean, when you say stars, I'm just assuming you're talking about like the most expensive guys on the slate. Luka Doncic has a lot of usage now with there being no Kristaps, and Joel Embiid has a lot of usage until James Harden comes back. So my top 2 studs would be Luka and Joel Embiid. Giannis isn't too far behind them, though, because the fact of the matter is all Giannis needs is the game to stay close, and he can have some massive upside. But we know Joel Embiid and Luka Doncic are being leaned on very heavily. Milwaukee has some other guys that they could possibly go to, like a Chris Middleton, like a Drew Holiday, etc. So for me, it's going to be Embiid and Luka as my top 2 studs. They just stand out. They have more usage for that. So for that reason, that's what I'm rocking with there to answer that question. So, all right, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here. If you want to join the premium content team, I'd love to have you. If you want to join the KJK DFS fan club, you can hit the join button below this video next to subscribe. That's how you get the beautiful KJK DFS emblem next to your name. I see Patrick in the chat has it. You get priority in answers in the chat. It's just another way of supporting the content. So if you're enjoying it every day, there's multiple tiers, and you can just purchase that, show your support. If you don't want to or you can't afford to, that is not an issue. But a lot of people don't know how to do it, so I just wanted to put that out. Guys at Places says Luka, Joel, or Giannis. If you had to pick one today, if I had to pick one of those guys, you got to go with Luka. I mean, Luka's usage is just really, really high. He gets the job done in all categories. And I just think his upside's, talking like 100 DraftKings points upside every night for Luka, literally. And I'm not exaggerating because of what's been happening now with there being no Kristaps in town. So definitely Luka. Aldrich says, thanks and God bless. Yeah, no problem, man. All right, guys, I got to bounce out of here. I'm going to be updating the core plays, the premium projections, all that stuff. So my premium content members, I'll see you any second now. If you have questions in the Discord chat, I'll be hopping in there. Wishing you guys all the best of luck on this slate tonight. Have a great All-Star break. Maybe I'll put out some content during the All-Star break. I don't know. I'll have to brainstorm some stuff. Maybe we can do like a fun live stream of like a All-Star break live stream and just talk about NBA in general. Maybe some changes with the trade deadline of, usage and fantasy point per minute stuff. If you have any ideas, feel free to tweet at me. Follow me over there on Twitter at KJK_DFS. And I'm out of here, guys. Brandon Ingram, get him in your lockups. He's my lock, or get him in your lockups. Get him in your lineups. He's my lock of the night on both websites. Brandon Ingram, love him. So we'll leave it at that. Get Brandon Ingram in your lineups. I'm out of here, guys. Wishing you all the best of luck tonight. Have a good All-Star break. Peace.